y'all, welcome and welcome back. I am really excited to be here today to kind of do a part 2 to the video that I did last week. So if you didn't see that one, it was me doing a ranking of MGA's doll brands, and then today we are going to be doing a ranking of all of Mattel's doll brands. So just like with that one, I am going to be going off of the brands that are currently listed on Mattel's website. Obviously, they've had lots of other ones over the years. Mattel has been a company for quite a while. So I'm just limiting myself to the ones that are listed on their website, with the exception of Cave Club, because I know for sure Mattel produces them, and for some reason they're not under like their brands list. I don't know, but I thought I would go ahead and include that one in there. So we're going on Mattel's list plus Cave Club. If there are any doll brands that Mattel is producing that weren't on there that I'm not aware of, let me know in the comments. I'll kind of give you my opinion or where I would have placed them in this ranking. And of course, feel free to go ahead and drop down below your own ranking, because this is my personal, bias talking. It's how I feel about these brands. And I'm 100% sure that people are going to disagree with me on this one. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I am going to start kind of like with an honorary first place. And that's because Monster High and Ever After High are both still listed on Mattel's website as like their brands. And I kind of feel like that almost isn't fair, because aside from the collector's Monster High dolls that were released last year, we haven't gotten any of those in quite a long time. So it's like, they're listed on the website, so I technically should be including them. But also, in my mind, they're not really an active doll line anymore, unfortunately. And then also, y'all know that Monster High is going to take the top spot for me, and then Ever High would be immediately after.
Ever High? Really, Paige?
So I figured, like, since they are so far and above the other doll brands that Mattel has, in my opinion, and then they aren't actively being produced, I just kind of thought that I would give the honorary shout out and say, hey, yes, I know that those are, like, the shining examples of beautiful dolls, but I'm not going to be including them, like, actively in the ranking, because I kind of feel like it almost isn't fair. I don't know, I hope that makes sense. But, yeah, honorary mention, first place, and then second place, I suppose, would go to Monster High and Ever After High. But, with those two out of the way, I have 6 other brands that I'm going to be talking about, and we're going to be starting from the bottom, because that is much more fun and suspenseful. So, starting at the bottom for me is American Girl, which, like, I kind of feel like might be controversial. I don't know, they're a different kind of doll than really any of the other dolls that we're going to be talking about on this list. They're not really a fashion doll. They're obviously significantly bigger. There's a lot of, like, story that goes into American Girl dolls. They're just kind of a class all their own, if that makes sense to me. I don't really feel anything about American Girl doll. As a little girl, I never had one, so I don't have the personal nostalgia factor of American Girl. And as an adult, they're not something that has even crossed my mind for absolute ages. I haven't thought about American Girl in at least a decade, so there's just not something that's really on my radar. They're not something that I would be interested in collecting now. They're way too big for me. So yeah, just for me personally, American Girl is going to have to go in 6th place. This is definitely one that I don't have any, like, negative feelings towards them. I just never got into them. Then in 5th place, we are going to have Enchantimals. I'm not 100% certain if these are still being produced, but if not, they definitely were discontinued more recently than Monster High and Ever After High, which is why they are still in the actual official ranking on this list. And yes, they are coming in at number 5. I think that, the articulation, if you guys watch my channel, you know that that's a really big point for me. I really, really dislike when dolls can't move their elbows. That's just, like, a huge pet peeve of mine as far as doll collecting goes. But the other thing about Enchantimals that bothers me is that I think they could have been really, really cool. Like, I think that the idea is really cute, little animal-themed dolls. Like, who doesn't love animals, right? Like, I think that it was a good idea, but I just don't think it was executed to its fullest potential. I think that if a little bit more detail was put in, if they had that extra articulation, I don't know, I think there are things that could have been done with the line that would have made them, like, really, really awesome. But because the idea is so nice to me, but the execution isn't, it makes it even worse. Like, if you take a bad idea, of course the execution is going to be bad. But when you take a good idea and then execute it poorly, it's even more disappointing than if you just have a bad idea in the first place. So that's why Enchantimals are going to be at 5th place for me. Then in 4th place, these are listed under dolls on Mattel's website, so I am including them, even though they're kind of more of a playset. I don't know, but it's gonna be a Polly Pocket. So I do have nostalgia surrounding Polly Pocket, but for me it was more, I hesitate to call them like the fashion dolls, but they were the slightly bigger dolls that came with the rubber clothing. Those are the Polly Pockets that I have a real soft spot in my heart for. The ones that Mattel are currently producing are the little like fold out play sets that are super, super tiny. Those are never ones that I really got into. I was also a child when they originally came out, and I'm sure that my parents didn't want me to choke on them, so I don't think that I ever actually had any of the original little sets. I don't love the way that the figurines in the sets look now. It's just, they're fine, but they're nothing stellar to me. So that's why they are ranked in 4th place for me, just because there is that nostalgia factor. I do think it's cool that Polly Pocket is having a comeback. I don't know, it's kind of mid-tier, literally just for the nostalgia factor for me. Then, right above Polly Pocket in 3rd place, I am going to have Cave Club. So, I have not actually bought a Cave Club doll yet. I do really want to, like I want to get one or two and review them. It's just every time that I think about it, the ones that I want aren't in stores, or my bank account is saying, no, you're not going to do that today. So maybe one day, but I do think that I would like them. They do have more articulation. They've got the articulated elbows and wrists, so that's really, really nice. I think that the colors are really vibrant and fun. I don't love the like cave person theme. I do think they're going to run out of creative ideas for that pretty quickly. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the team at Mattel is leagues above me creativity-wise. Couldn't tell ya. But yeah, for me, I just don't think that there's a whole lot that you can do with that theme. So that's kind of disappointing, because I do think that, at least just from seeing them on the shelves in the boxes, they do look like some of the better dolls that Mattel has released recently. So I would like to be able to say that I rank them higher, but I think that kind of that mid-ground level 3 is good for Cave Club. Then here's where we're gonna get like a little controversial. I have Barbie ranked at 2nd place. And that's because I think that Barbie is obviously a hugely iconic brand. She has been around for ages. She has evolved to fit like the different styles and trends of each decade as she goes through them. And I think that that's awesome. I do think that that's incredible. But the problem that I run into with this ranking is that I don't think that Barbie has produced anything that's really incredible in a while. I know a lot of the newer Barbies have just kept going downhill in terms of quality, and I think it's really sad to see a brand that is such a household name kind of start to falter like that. It disappoints me, because I know when I was a little girl, Barbie was everything to me. I loved my Barbie dolls, and it's like, now I want the old Barbie dolls. Like, I want to buy more old Barbies off of eBay, but I have no interest whatsoever when I walk down a toy aisle in any of the new Barbies. And that's really sad to me. I really hope that Mattel can manage to kind of reinvigorate that line. I don't think it's like Barbie would ever be canceled, because it is so enormously popular and it's been like the name brand doll for so long. But I really hope that someone at Mattel starts to care again and they produce some better Barbies, because I would really like some good new ones. So I did have to give her 2nd place, just because, like, how can you not rank Barbie pretty high up on a Mattel brand ranking? But I couldn't give her 1st place, because I think that in recent years, she hasn't performed top tier. So that brings me to number 1, and I think this is going to surprise a lot of people. Do keep in mind that this is, without Monster High and Ever After High in the ranking. But I'm going to put Creatable World at number 1. I'm shocking myself saying that. But I think that, 1, they have incredible articulation, like elbows, knees, wrists, hips, ankles. What doll nowadays has ankle articulation that isn't like a BJD? I think that is so cool that you can buy a fashion doll offline that has ankle articulation. And then from what I've seen of like the pictures and stuff online, again, this is a brand that I haven't actually purchased, even though I'd like to. They do look like they're decent quality. I think that it's also definitely just a cool idea to me. I love the idea of androgynous dolls. I just think that's so fun to not have a gender assigned and to have all of these clothing pieces that you can do so much with in terms of the gender expression of your dolls. I don't know. I just like, there's something about them that really draws me in. I really, really want to get some of these. Like, I talked about this, I think it was in my Q&A video. I talked about this in my Q&A video. I would love to get some Creatable World dolls. Again, I haven't done it yet, but I definitely need to. I think it's kind of wild that I'm going to give the top spot to dolls that I haven't even owned. But, like, given the fall of Barbie recently, given the fact that Monster High and Ever After High are not a thing, out of the brands that are currently listed on Mattel's website, I think that Creatable World is the one that I am most likely to go and search out a doll to buy. And I think that that is kind of like how I did my ranking, was like, what do I want to purchase? And like, I wouldn't want to purchase an American Girl doll. I don't want to buy Enchantimals. But I'm really craving a Creatable World doll. So that's what I've got for you. Again, I know that that's a contentious one. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be upset that I didn't flip Barbie and Creatable World. But like, again, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not upset with you if you feel differently. I understand if you're upset with me for how I feel. But yeah, that's going to be my ranking for the Mattel doll brands. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, go ahead and let me know down in the comments what your ranking would be, or if I missed any dolls, because I'm sure I did, to be perfectly frank with you. I'm sure that there are other ones that Mattel has out there that they just for some reason didn't list on their website, like they didn't list Cave Club. So yeah, let me know. Also, you guys seem to have liked my last ranking video. I hope that you also liked this one. So if there's anything else that you guys want me to rank, let me know down in the comments below. I'm sure that stuff is going to come up and I'll have some in the future anyway. But if there's anything that you'd like to see from me, I'm happy to oblige. So yeah, definitely let me know any requests that we have down there. But other than that, I hope that you guys have a lovely rest of your day or night or whatever it may be, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.